That's
It's
a
not
big
based on,
confusion.
no, I think it's not based on sexuality. It's based on the person. So,
That makes sense.
yeah. So I get that. I mean, I get that you could
You
fall
do?
or have a crush on someone. I'm trying to think. I don't know. So first of all, I'm completely hetero. I love men. I love
You
powerful
do.
men. I think that they're sexy. I definitely appreciate a woman's beauty. I appreciate something about a woman, but I can't imagine, there's that woman that owns Soul Cycle. Am I getting that right? And she's the lesbian and she's turned a bunch of women. Do you know about this woman? Stacy, I think is her name.
Yeah.
And I know someone who was married for many years and had children and didn't think of herself as someone who liked women and was dating her for a while. I don't know if they're still together. I don't know anything about it. We could Google it because it was actually in the news. But there's something to be said for falling for someone's personality.
It would be great.
And their
like,
energy.
I think a wholly
get it.
actualized person, but I just don't. I get it. I understand all the terms. I know every term there is, although I didn't know this one. I just couldn't ever fall for a woman emotionally,
But you
like
love
as
me.
love.
You love
I
me.
love you
How come you can't fall for me?
because you're an amazing friend.
Oh, thanks, David.
But that doesn't
Okay.
mean I'm in love with you. I
Right.
love you.
It doesn't mean you want to get in the sheets with me.
No. And I don't even necessarily, I don't think we should make out anytime soon. Maybe a little peck, maybe a little peck if we're drunk. You're drinking some wine now, but I'm not sure we should go, anywhere together like that. But I feel like we've seen a whole season and I'm not sure. And now we have Buying Beverly Hills, which is coming back to Netflix with Mauricio. They tease that they're talking about it. I just think it's
Listen,
enough.
let me just say one thing.
And I
more
don't
thing
even care, is what I'm
I
saying.
like Mauricio. I think Kyle is, interesting and fine and beautiful. I think I've heard enough about the whole breaking up thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's terrible to break up with your longtime spouse. I'm sure. It is terrible to end a marriage. I'm sure. But if that's your storyline, I think that's a little stretching because everyone goes through. I mean, 50% of people go through divorce. 50% of people go through that. It's not like she's going through something that is more spectacular or misunderstood or terrible or sad than anyone else who's gone through it. And so, I don't really get why that becomes like the storyline that becomes her. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm being cold about it, but I don't get why that is like such a big deal. I mean, it's terrible that they're breaking up, but it's kind of like it feels very drawn out to me because if they have so much emotion about it ending, then they should put that emotion into figuring it out and making it work. Otherwise, what's the emotion about? They're kind of done with it. I mean, it looks like they're both going in different directions. So I don't see much real emotion about trying to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Do you follow?
I do. I have a question for you.
What?
Would you like to go on a date with Mauricio?
No, he's actually not my type, but
it's not my type either.
But, I think he's probably a cool, fun guy. Have you noticed in all the episodes where she says things to him, he makes this face at her
yeah,
how could you talk like that to me? I find that she's become really cold and obnoxious this season. I've always liked her. I don't like how she treats him. It is represented in the show that she's the one that's pulling away, in my opinion. And he seems to be traveling a lot, but that's for work. I mean, she seems to be kind of rude to him. It's none of your business how many tattoos I get. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And she doesn't really invite him. I think that she is very clear about moving on with her life without him. And
you don't think he seems a little controlling, like I'm the man and this is not the role?
I want a man to be the man. I want to be someone's queen and let them be the king, but that's just me.
Ugh. I get it, but I don't get it. But I get it. Well, you and I differ in that sense, apparently.
That's fine.
But that's okay. Here's another question. By the way, none of this was rehearsed. I'm just thinking of questions which tend to make the best episodes. Speaking of me asking if you want to go on a date with Mauricio, you and I made some press recently. You were on this podcast like a year ago. It somehow came up that, you know, PK used to come into the club and spend $1 million a night, and you did date PK. Well, now they are saying they are taking pictures of him all over LA, right down the street from me without the wedding ring. And rumor is he's been living at, I heard the Four Seasons, someone else told me a different hotel, that he's been living at a hotel. And this is how it all started with Kyle and Mauricio. Now, mind you, I heard stories about Mauricio diddling and daddling for years, personally, on the streets of Beverly
I don't know that I
Hills.
believe that. I think they're too well known for him to have comfortably been someone who could
Diddled and daddled.
could diddle and daddle. I don't think that's true. He's probably out and about. He's probably taking out clients and being social. I don't think he's ever crossed the line. I could be completely wrong. It would be stupid of him to. So that's why I'm saying that. I mean, it would be so crossing boundaries that like are too obvious. It would be like, how could you, of all people, when you know cameras are following your wife, they're starting to follow you, like why would you ever do that? So to me, that seems very far-fetched and very stupid if it did happen. Now, regarding PK and Dorit.
Which I haven't heard these rumors about PK per se at all, really.
Well, don't forget PK's been in London. So
he's been in London.
So let me say a couple things about PK.
Say it.
PK has a history of cheating. He cheated with his first wife. It ended up in a divorce.
With you.
I'm not answering anything about that, but I know that he's cheated many times in the past.
Okay.
So, but his marriage was dissolving for many years, at least out of his mouth. Okay. So, and he stayed in it for the kids. He really loves his kids, which by the way, no one ever talks about his first set of kids. You know, he's a very good dad.
Do I know he had a first set of kids? He has kids?
Do I know kids from his first wife. Yeah.
How old?
Older. I mean, they're now, I think all of them are in college or through. Let's see. When I dated him, I believe it was his youngest son was having a bar mitzvah. I'm forgetting now.
Do people know this? Because recently on Vanderpump Rules, Sheena Shea showed a sister, and I said, because I forget, this audience doesn't forget anything. And I said, since when does Sheena have a fucking sister? Maybe I'm wrong. Everyone slipped into the DMs. You're not wrong. I don't remember a sister. I don't know. Do we know that PK has other kids? Has that ever been talked about on Beverly Hills? I don't
know. But Loretta was his wife, this bohemian, beautiful blonde who lives in London, and she has 3 kids, and the kids have been separated from this show a lot. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that he has a history.
Does he see these other kids ever?
I haven't spoken to PK in 14 years, so I don't know.
Does Dorit have a relationship with these kids? I have a lot of questions, Rachel. I have a lot of
questions too, but let's get back to, I think that knowing PK and also seeing from the show, I think he's irritated by her constant talk about the PTSD, which by the way, I suffer from. So I know what PTSD is, but when you say, okay, so, you know, I think it's in question whether or not the robbery happened, if it was a real robbery.
Garcelle questioned it.
People are now saying it was set up by PK to get